Lesson 1, Module 2, I will express metric length measurements in terms of a smaller unit. In your math journal, I want you to turn to the next page and I want you to put today's date and Lesson 1, Metric Measurement. All right, today we're going to be talking about metric measurement. So there are two kinds of measurements. We have metric and then we have U.S. customary. In the United States, we use the U.S. customary, inches, feet, yards, but the rest of the world uses meters, millimeters, and centimeters. So I want you to take a look at this example of a ruler. On the bottom side of the ruler, you can see that these are the inches, but the top, these are centimeters. The numbers that you see here, like the 1 and the 2, these represent centimeters. So this distance from here to here is how big a centimeter is. If you look at these little bitty marks, the teeny tiny ones, those are millimeters. 10 centimeters is a decimeter. 100 centimeters is a meter. So we're going to be talking about how big these types of objects are. We're going to be putting some of this information in your math journal. Okay, so first of all, you're going to notice I have some pictures here. And I want you to notice that a millimeter, just like on the ruler that I showed you before, it's kind of hard to tell in this picture, but it's about the width of a nail. You can see how tiny it is. And a centimeter is about the width of your finger. And then you can see a decimeter is about the width of your hand. A meter is about the width of a door. And a kilometer, or sometimes pronounced kilometer, is about how far you can run in 10 minutes. Now these are called benchmarks. And what that means is you may not be familiar with what a millimeter is, but you can use something like the width of a nail as a benchmark because you do know what a nail looks like and you know that it's very tiny. Same thing about right here. You may not know exactly how big a centimeter is, but you know how wide your finger is. So your finger becomes a benchmark for these objects or these units of measurement. In your math journal, I want you to copy this table that I have down here. Do not try to copy these pictures up here. I don't want you putting that in your math journal, but I do want you to draw this metric measurement benchmark. So I want you to draw a rectangle. I want you to divide it into 5 parts, and I want you to label it just like I have, so that whenever you're trying to figure out which of these units you should use when measuring, you can come back and take a look at these. You're obviously not going to use millimeters to measure something very big, just like you wouldn't use kilometers to measure something very small. So you have to use the right unit of measurement whenever you're measuring objects. Okay, so today's lesson, we're going to go ahead and go right straight to our problem set. It really isn't about measuring so much as it is about converting measurements. So it's really important that you understand how many meters are in a kilometer. Okay, so where it says 1 kilometer equals blank meters, you may already know this, but 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So 4 kilometers would be equal to, I bet you can guess, 4,000 meters. See if you can do C by yourself. I bet you can. Say 7,000 meters. Okay, so now we're going to go backwards. So if I have 18,000 meters, how many kilometers would that be? 18, right? All right, so let's try something different. So there are 100 centimeters in a meter. So if I have 3 meters, I have 300 centimeters. If I have 80 meters, 8,000 centimeters. And if I have 12,000 centimeters, then I have 120. Looking for patterns here. So now we're going to go something just a little bit more difficult. This time we have 3 kilometers and 312 meters. So first of all, I'm going to convert these kilometers to meters. So if I have 3 kilometers, I know that that is 3,000 meters. So 3,000 plus 312 would be 3,312 meters. Okay, so this is 13,000 meters plus this 27, so it's 13,027 meters. A little bit harder. We have 915 kilometers. That's 915,008 meters. So remember, there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So for every kilometer, it's going to be equal to 1,000 meters. All right, now over here it's a little bit different because this is not equal to 1,000 centimeters, it's 100. So 3 meters would be like 300 centimeters. So when you add that together, you get 356 centimeters. So this would be like 140 plus 8, so that would be 148. Okay, so I have 120 hundredths. So remember what that looks like. 120 hundredths plus 46, so that would be 1,246. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this time, instead of adding, we're going to be doing a little bit of subtraction. Good thing that you did subtraction in the last unit. All right, so this time I've got 4,000 kilometers, and I want to take away 2,080 meters. So I'm going to have to convert these to meters. So I've got 4,000 kilometers minus 280, or excuse me, 4,000 meters minus 280 meters. So I'm ready to subtract in the ones, but I'm going to have to decompose these thousands so that I have 10 hundredths, and then decompose 100 so that I have 10 tenths. Now I'm ready to subtract. So I have 0, 2, 7, and 8. So over here, I'm going to have to change this to 115 centimeters minus 34 centimeters. I'm already subtracting the ones, but in the tens, I'm going to have to decompose. This is an 11. So 5 minus 4 is 1, and 11 minus 3 is 8. So I have 81 centimeters. So for C, it says express your answer in the smaller unit. So I have kilometers and meters. The smaller unit is meters. So first of all, I'm going to rewrite these. I'm going to put the 13 kilometers right underneath here, and the 169 meters. And I'm going to add first, and then I'm going to convert. So I've got meters, and I'm going to regroup here so that I have 10, 600 meters, and 14 kilometers. So I'm going to convert. So this is going to be 14,000 meters plus 600 meters, which would be 14,000 meters. See if you can try the next one by yourself. If you're still having a little bit of trouble, then just follow along with me. All right, so again, I'm going to subtract first, then I'm going to convert them to the smaller units. So I've got my 14 meters and 48 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to have to, I'm not going to be able to, because look, I cannot take 48 from 31, so I'm going to have to try a different approach here. I can't do that this time. Okay. So I'm going to have to convert first. So let's say 231 meters is going to be 2,031 meters plus 31 centimeters. Give me 2,341 centimeters. And then over here I've got 140 meters plus 48 centimeters, 88 centimeters. Okay, so now I can subtract. 2,341 centimeters minus 188 centimeters. Okay, so I'm not ready to subtract here, so I'm going to decompose. Not ready to subtract in the 10, so I'm going to decompose. 3, 5, 2. So that's 2,103 centimeters. Whew, a lot of work. All right, let's go to E. On these addition ones, I know I can add first because it doesn't matter how big or small your numbers are, you can always add them. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to add first, and then I'm going to convert. I think that was a little bit easier when I could do that. So I've got 879. It's really important that you try to keep your ones, tens, and hundreds lined up when you're adding. All right, it's kind of hard for me with this pen. All right, so I have 9, 10, and 11. So that gives me 1,009 meters. And then over here I have 8, 7, 78 kilometers. So I have 1,000 meters. So I think what I'm going to do before I convert this is I'm going to go ahead and say that that is 79 kilometers and 109 meters. So now I know that this is 79,000 meters. So 79,109 meters. So basically all I did was take 1,000 meters away and decompose that and turn that into a kilometer. All right, so let's take a look at F. I'm not going to be able to subtract again because I can see that I have 879 meters. So let's just go ahead and turn this all into meters first. So I have 67,230 meters, 11,879 meters. Now all I have to do is subtract. So I cannot subtract here, so I'm going to decompose. Not subtract here, so I'm going to decompose. I cannot subtract here, so I'm going to decompose. I can subtract everywhere else. Okay, so that's 1, 5, 3, 5, 5. So I've got 55,351 meters. All right, moving right along. All right, this time it says use a tape diagram to model each problem. Solve using a simplifying strategy or an algorithm and write your answer as a statement. The length of Carter's driveway is 12 meters, 38 centimeters. His neighbor's driveway is 4 meters, 99 centimeters longer. How long is his neighbor's driveway? So I want you to try to think of what can you draw. So remember your RDW process. We just read it. Now you're ready to draw. Is there something that you can draw to represent this? It's already telling you to use a tape diagram. So think about how you can use a tape diagram to compare Carter's driveway to his neighbor's driveway. Okay, so let's take a look now at what your tape diagram could have looked like. You could have drawn 2 tape diagrams, one for Carter's driveway and one for his neighbor's driveway. But what I chose to do here was I chose to draw one tape diagram to represent his neighbor's driveway. So if you can see right here, N stands for neighbor, and I'm wanting the total here. So I have 12 meters, 38 centimeters. That's how long Carter's driveway is. But his neighbor's is 4 millimeters, 99 centimeters longer. So I can tell by looking at this tape diagram that if I want the whole, I'm going to have to use addition. So that's what I did here. I took 12 meters and 38 centimeters and 4 meters and 99 centimeters. And I want you to notice what I did here. This is called a number bond. I had 137 centimeters. So I separated out the 100 centimeters and the 37 meters because I knew 100 centimeters would equal 1 meter. So now I have that the neighbor's driveway was 17 meters and 37 centimeters. If you left it like this, 16 meters, 137 centimeters, I want you to go ahead and change it because I want to make sure that you're leaving this in the most simple form. If you left it as 137 centimeters, that wouldn't be, it would be correct, but it wouldn't be as accurate. Then you're going to write your sentence. I said the neighbor's driveway is 17 meters, 37 centimeters long. Yours was probably really similar. All right, so let's take a look at number 5. So again, we're going to read, draw, and write. So Enya walked 2 kilometers, 309 meters from school to the store. Then she walked from the store to her home. If she walked a total of 5 kilometers, how far was it from the store to her home? So I want you to pause the video and try to come up with a tape diagram, and then press play when you're ready to check. Okay, so I'm going to begin by drawing a tape diagram, and this is going to represent how far Kenya walked altogether. Now, it says that she walked from the school to the store, and then she walked from the store home. So I've got 2 separate parts here. I do know how far she walked altogether because it says she walked a total of 5 kilometers. So here's my 5 kilometers. And I know that she walked 2 kilometers, 309 meters from the school to store, but I want to know how far she walked from store to home. So I'm just going to call this H. I could just call it a question mark. It means the same thing. It just means I'm trying to figure out this part. So if I know the total, and I know this part, but I need this part, that means I'm going to use subtraction. So I've got 5 kilometers, and I'm going to subtract 2 kilometers, 309 meters. So I'm thinking, how am I going to take away 309 meters when I don't have any? Well, it's kind of like decomposing, isn't it? Could I come over here and decompose 1 kilometer and trade it for 1,000 meters? Now I can subtract. Now, I could go through with all the regrouping, or I could do a little bit of mental math. I know that to get from 300 to 1,000 would be 700, right? But I don't need the whole 700. I need 9 less than 700. 9 less than 700 is 691. Now, if that doesn't make sense to you, then you can just use the standard algorithm. All right, so now I've just got 4 minus 2 kilometers, which is 2 kilometers, 691 meters. So my answer would be, she walked 2 kilometers, 691 meters from the store to her. All right, let's take a look at the next one. All right, so Rachel has a rope 5 millimeters, 32 centimeters long that she cut into 2 pieces. One piece is 249 centimeters long. How many centimeters long is the other piece of rope? So I want you to stop and think to yourself, what can I draw? And then when you think you have an idea of your tape diagram, and if you feel pretty confident in it, go ahead and solve, and then you're ready to check. If you're completely and totally lost, you can stay with me, and I'll help you get started, and then maybe you do the rest by yourself. All right, so here's my tape diagram. All right, so I have the total of her rope, which is 5 millimeters and 32 centimeters long. That's my total. And I know that she cut it into 2 pieces. I know one piece is 249 centimeters long, but I don't know the other piece, so that's why I labeled it rope. So because I know the total, and I know one part, but I'm missing a part, that tells me that I need to use subtraction. So I come over here, and I converted the 5 meters, 32 centimeters, to 532 centimeters, and then I subtracted. You can see that I needed to decompose in the tens and the hundreds to be able to subtract. So I ended up with 283 centimeters. And my number sentence, the other piece of rope is 283 centimeters. Okay, ready for the last one? Try this last one all by yourself. See how you do. If you get stuck or you get frustrated, you can always watch and go along with me. So Jason rode his bike 529 fewer meters than Allison. Jason rode 1 kilometer, 850 meters. How many meters did Allison ride? So I'm thinking, first of all, I know that Allison rode further than Jason because it said Jason rode fewer meters than Allison. So when I drew my tape diagram, I thought, well, the total here could be Allison. You can see that her tape diagram is longer than Jason's. And I know that Jason went 1 kilometer, 850 meters long, and Allison went 525 meters more. Now, this isn't the only way that you could have drawn your tape diagram. I chose to do it as a comparison. You could have just drawn one tape diagram representing Allison, and that would have been accurate too. All right, so it looks like if I need to know what this bar is and this bar is, if I put these two numbers together, I will find out how far Allison rode. And that's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was I went ahead and changed 1 kilometer, 850 meters to 1,850 meters. Then I added my 529 meters, and that gave me 2,379 meters. Now, if you left it does say how many meters did Allison ride. So if you left it as kilometers and meters, then that wouldn't be correct. If you said 2 kilometers, 379 meters, that doesn't really answer the question, how many meters did Allison ride? So you needed to go ahead and do that one extra step to make sure that you had it in meters. So I know this is a pretty tough lesson. I want you to try not to get frustrated and do your best, and good luck on your exit slip.